Zhigalko. I feel like I play him every second tile Tuesday. And then he usually plays the advance.
Welcome back, chess fan. In this video, how Magnus Carlsen is winning with black using the French defense. Now, in this position, knight d2 is a move, but a6 is very good for black. Another move would be knight c3, but you play knight f6, and on that, you move here, you're gonna counterattack with c5. Another move would be the exchange variation, where you take back like that, and then you're gonna play c5. So the real test of the French defense is e5. We play c5, c3, we play knight c6, knight f3. And the whole idea of this variation is because of his pawns, that bishop here is bad, has nowhere to go. Let's see how Magnus Carlsen deals with that variation.
What does he play? Like, I feel like I always play the same line here. But what does he do here? I'm sure he has a pet line here as well. So this, people usually go f6.
Okay, before we go further, let's analyze this key position. On the right side, you have the moves. On the bottom left, you can see Carlsen has played this position 4 times, but also Matthias Bluebaum, Alireza Firouzja, and Grishuk. All the top grandmasters, they play this position from the black side. So now, what is important to note? Let's go back. e5, the advanced variation. c5, c3, everybody knows that. Knight c6, knight f3, bishop d7, all right, bishop e2. Now we played knight e7. Trying to get to f5, we don't want to play on h6 because the bishop here could take you. So we play knight e7, knight a3, and then here we're gonna take once, take back, knight f5. Very simple idea, we're attacking d4. White is ready, and white is defending the d4 pawn, right? Very important. Bishop e7, castle, castle. So we have a close center. Black side, I have 2 pawns, and here we're locked in. So what's important is the play on the wings or the flank attack. For black, f6, g5, h5, g4. For white, a3, b4, b5, rook c1, queen somewhere, the queen side attack. So we're gonna see in this position how Carlsen will play and get the better of his opponent Zhigalko. Let's go.
So this, people usually go f6. And now he thinks. Okay, so trade. This doesn't seem that promising for white, no? Let me play aggressively. I'm gonna go f4 and then bishop f5. I think he was prepared to give up a pawn, let's say after g4, and so on. g4, bishop f6, bishop, queen f6, knight e5, and so on. So I'd rather prefer to leave that pawn alone and activate my bishop for now. Yeah, queen d2 is very logical. Actually, I kind of like bishop e7. Feels a bit weird to leave such a good bishop alone there in the center, but I'm preventing, especially because it's, you know, covering some squares around my king, but it's preventing knight b4, and also I might be, I have ideas like bishop e4, maybe g4 as well sometimes, and There really isn't that much positive about his position apart from that bishop, and there are also other squares, there are also other pieces in his camp that might want to use that square. So I kind of like this. Yeah, so he wants knight b4. So I guess I'll go, well, a5, b4. Let's go bishop e4 then.
And from now on, Magnus Carlsen will outplay with opponents.
I think he has to be really careful now.
Let's go to the end of the game.
Maybe knight h2. The pawn. This doesn't work now. I think he had to go rook d1. The g4. I got it. Checkmate. So he has to give up the knight. Okay. You know what? I think that wasn't half bad.
Okay, let's unpack how Carlsen won. In this position, he played g5. That's a very committal move because he's moving his pawn. But the bishop here is attacked, and then after the move like that, he decided to play f4 because he wants to move his bishop and he has a bishop pair. At some point, white should have exchanged, but instead, white decided not to exchange on f6, and now he played bishop e7. That's a master move because then he wants to put g4 right now, bishop e4, and that bishop is a liability. The game went on like that, and then very little by little, black took the advantage. It's easy to see that that knight here is not doing anything. That knight here is also on the defense. So the game went on, and I'm gonna go to the final moments here where we cut to the end. So here Carlsen is a pawn up already. We go into the end game, and here white took. White had to go back to rook d1 to prevent rook c1. We would do that anyway, and here we would bring the king here, the bishop would guard that pawn, and we win easily. Instead of the game, there was a check, and here Zhigalko got checkmated. Yes, checkmate. But now let me show you one more trick that Carlsen has in the French defense. Alright, let's go back to our key position after the move castle right here. It happened that Magnus Carlsen played this position more than once, and he played it against Jeffrey John, and he was playing in the black PC still, the French defense, in another Title Tuesday game on chess.com. Now, the game started exactly like Zhigalko, bishop d3, and Carlsen did f6, threatening the white center. So far so good, white took, black took. Now if you recall, in a game that we've just seen, white played bishop f4. Not a good idea because that allowed to do g7, g5, and then f7, f5, f4. Alright, so what happened in this new game? Rook e1 was played instead. Now, this is black to play. If you were Magnus Carlsen and you want to play like him, what would you do in this position? Feel free to pause the video. So now, in the game, what happened was bishop e8. You may ask, what happened on g5? g5 is not as good because white would have b4. And then if you're trying to attack like that, e6 is attacking the bishop, not so good for black. And if in this position b4 you were to take, we have to take here. We cannot take with the bishop because we will lose the knight. So we have to take with the rook. We will take, and here enter a crazy game with pin and definitely danger for black. So therefore, in this position, g5 wasn't played, but bishop e8. What a move. Let's say I play a random move like a3, I'm gonna play bishop h5 with black, attacking here, attacking there, threatening to take with the advantage. So if I go back in this key position, bishop e8, Jeffrey John took on f6, we take back, knight e5. Now we have a very deep position. We did not play g7, g5. So what to do with black? We follow Magnus Carlsen lead. He takes on e5 and he plays d4. We can see we have opposite color bishops, so we need to attack with the black pieces. We have a nice knight. Where is the knight? When this knight will disappear, we're gonna be left up with a very sharp position. Let's go so quickly. f4. Why f4? Because we're trying to develop our bishop here. Bishop d2, queen d5. Look at this Magnus Carlsen. So good. He's preparing the attack. So now there was exchange of knight as expected. The queen goes back. Rook f5 attacks e5, e6, f3. Oh my goodness, right? If white were to play e7, not playing the game, you play rook e8 and you control the game. In the game, rook a d1 was played. Very crazy. Rook g5. You can see that with the French defense, Magnus Carlsen is on the attack. Queen g4 trying to go into the endgame. The king goes here. We're going to the endgame. But we have a very dangerous pass pawn. Now, I will go quickly. We have the game. Bishop c3, the last blunder. And here Magnus won the game. What did he do? Feel free to pause the video. He did rook takes e7, winning the pawn. You cannot take back because you have a nice checkmate. And that position is completely winning. You're gonna move the rook over here. If the rook were to move somewhere, f2, bishop e4. You're in control. Very nice control by Magnus. So now I think this video concludes the French defense identification. You remember the key position here, and then you get ready to play f6, and you're very happy in this position. I see you in the next one.